It's very exciting when you get your Land Rover back from paint shop or wherever, if you've been painting it yourself, to assemble everything as quickly as possible. Take your time, look at a few things, because the assembly of the roof and the sides dictate the fit of the doors as well. It's something you have to sort of be a little bit aware of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the camera off and show you a few bits and pieces that you maybe should be aware of. Inside this corner here, there's a pin sticking up, and you know, to put a nut and bolt down to fasten the corner down. And this is where we start to get our little bit of wriggle room, because Land Rover put a washer in this corner that is slotted. Now this was the one that came back from the body shop. Obviously they might have lost it or they didn't know, and it was missing, and they put this in. Now I'm going to, like I said, take the camera off and I'll show you the importance, but I'll put a picture in here and you can see the difference. It's got a slot in it, and that's to allow the roof to move a little bit but still be retained. And I'll show you the reason why you just don't use a big plain washer. In the corner, the bolt is in a kind of a big hole, but it's also in a recess. Now watch what happens when you put that on. It doesn't quite fit. So what tends to happen is the roof will move towards the centre of the bolt. Now if you had a slotted washer in there, then it will retain in its same place. Now if you have a look at the outside, you obviously can see it's lifted up, but even when that bolt, let me just take it out. So we can see now that the bolt here is butted up against the edge of the frame here, so it can't go any further backwards. Alright, so knowing that, we know that this edge here has to be flush with the bodywork, and this is just slightly in. Now when we come across to here, we find that this bit isn't quite in line, so when we bolt this back up here, we can adjust that to suit. So we know that this is good. The next thing we want to look at is the front. Now there isn't much wiggle room in this here, but there's enough. This line here should follow this line here, not stepped inside or outside. And the same goes here, look. You see how far that is? That should be really touching. It shouldn't be touching, should I say. So this, I think, needs to go forward just a little bit. But we can sort that all out when we put because we've got the doors on, we'll take the rubbers off again and we'll sort the gaps out properly. Now one thing I really wanted to show you is the roof bolts. Where are they now? So the roofing bolts here, the line of bolts here, are actually 5mm bolts like this. They are not 8mm bolts like this, even though they will go through the holes and a bit tight. Reason again, a bit of wriggle room, so you're allowed to move the roof a little bit. Let's go and have a look at the front, and this might become clear. Now you see the difference between the other side and this side. You see that trim there, that piece of metal? It's sat further back than the other side, so we know there's a problem with that side, so we might just have to put the porta power on and just tweak that forward, and that might get our door gaps nice. But this is right, but you can see there where the natural state of the window frame is. Well, it's not right at all, so we're going to bring that forward and then tighten it up. Alright, and the same at this back corner here. That's how it came back. I'm not having a go at the guys at the body shop, it's just that they didn't know, and it's just really for transport. So we're going to take that out and make a slotted washer, I think, because that's going to be quicker than buying one, and get this right. It's not too far out, look, but again we can see, because this isn't bracketed on here, this is popped in. Now the same goes for the back here. You can see, look, we've got to line these bits up, and especially here, look, because we've got the door on, you know, we've got an awful lot of pulling and tugging to do to get this right. And you can see this, how exaggerated this is. it's nowhere to be seen, nowhere near. So we've got a little bit of work to do, and don't rush this stage because it's very important. Because, like I say, it affects how your doors are going to be tightened up. All right, so that's just a little snippet on how to put your roof on. This roof here, but just to add, this roof here hasn't been adjusted here, you know. It hasn't had the seal broken, so there's something not quite right, and we might be able to just push a little bit in this top corner from down there and make that go a little bit further forward. So that is a couple of millimeters this way. The roof is this way. I'll do a little video on that in a minute or two. When you're bolting down your roof, either on a 90 or a 110, probably after a period of time you've forgotten which way the nuts and bolts go in, or how they go in, or what sizes. So just as a little handy hint, these are 20mm bolts and 25mm bolts. These are N5. Now, there is in the top of here a reinforcement bracket. Very important. Now on the 110 county station wagon it is quite a long bracket, just above the door, and sometimes they slide out of the slot and then you wonder which way they go, or sometimes when you've turned your roof upside down for painting the damn things drop out. So it's really important because that reinforcement in the top is necessary for the seatbelt bracket. Now just going back to these bolts a minute, which way do they go up? They actually go this way into the roof. Now I've noticed that originally they didn't have a washer at the bottom. They had a washer at the top, then a spring washer, then a bolt for fast assembly. But what I've done is I put a little washer at the bottom, a thin washer, a steel one, and just finishes it off nicely, because otherwise the head's going to dig into the aluminium and sort of not look nice. But well, nobody's going to see it, but you know, when we're moving things around it's going to make life a little bit easier. So there's another little tip that you need to know.